So I do think it'll be a bit faster for Ties.
It might well be with that hand. How much of this do you keep? You keep Master's Call. If you've got Master's Call, I think you keep Dire Frenzy as well.
Sure, with Master's Call, Dire Frenzy gets quite a bit better. That is a good hand for Ties.
And then you draw some cards that do things. Yeah.
If you're looking at a 4-keep, this is close to it for Ties here.
Boston's hand's not too bad, though.
Boston's hand is great. It's fantastic.
And something I'm starting to see over the last 3 days, why you like Warrior so much, because it almost never has a bad opener. It does occasionally get real clunk, but we haven't seen it draw particularly badly ever.
I think that it can have bad openers, but the power level of the deck just means that bad is still pretty mediocre.
Yeah, that's sort of what I mean.
I agree with you in some regards.
There's some mage hands you get, which is just, this hand does nothing.
Yeah, it doesn't have the 2014 Miracle Rogue problem where you could have a hand of 8 cards and they don't do anything.
Your bad warrior hands give you a certain game plan that you can play to, whereas your bad mage hands give you, how quickly do I concede?
I mean, like, the bad warrior hand is Brawl, Brawl, Warpath, Warpath, and, like, even in that case, you can still play defensively.
Because you're getting into your good cards because you've drawn all the ones you didn't want. Okay.
Yeah. Whereas Mage has, you know, Elemental Evocation. That doesn't do anything without a without an Elemental. Boston just removing the Huffer. Heads up play. Dire Frenzy on a Huffer kind of instantly wins ties the game.
Yes. This is where, I mean, you Master's Call here almost always because you have no other slot to do it. Yep. This is where I always found Master's Call. When I first started looking at the card and watching people play it, players like Death Star saying, hey, look at this card, we can abuse it. I'm like, but you don't do anything on, because Hunter was always such a curved tempo deck. And now on turn 3, you're doing nothing by choice.
I just want to point out that Boston drew what is arguably the best card in the deck.
I mean, we've argued about it all weekend.
Arguably, I will argue that it is, and then I will say you're wrong if it isn't.
Yeah, it's not been much.
That's not always true. That's not always true. But I do think that when you're playing a proactive game plan like this, Last Best Move is quite true.
Yeah, it's quite clearly an incredibly good card, and I think the more we're seeing of Warrior, the more we're seeing that this is the way to go with it.
Ziliax is a huge draw.
Yeah. We'll leave that one as an exercise for the reader. If you're not quite sure why Ziliax works here, a tutorial can be found for Hearthstone by downloading the Hearthstone app and playing the game.
Yep, it starts you off without a hero power.
Yeah, which you didn't need for that.
Kind of eases you into it, yeah. Ties does have the Singleton answer in his deck, though. He runs 1 Deadly Shot, doesn't really side into anything that beats this in his Warrior deck. See Boston being very unhappy about that. It is pretty likely for that to not be answered.
Something I've noticed about Boston, the last couple of weeks watching, as well as the week here, and remember he won this week, his other match, he's got very low confidence at the moment. When you get low confidence, every time your opponent plays a card, you kind of feel unlucky.
You can't, yeah, you have to, in Hearthstone, you have to realize that sometimes your opponent has the 40%er.
But you also start getting in the position where actually if you thought about it, it was an 80% and they had this, or this, or this, or this. And you only focus on the one they played. It's like, oh, I had exactly that one card.
Your opponent's allowed to draw good cards as well.
Because Boston is in no way a complainer or anything normally, but I'm just reading his tweets and watching his play and watching his mannerisms, he's quite clearly a little bit unhappy with his lot in this division.
I mean, I don't think anyone at 3 and 6 is particularly happy with
the results. But he also, I suspect, Boston in particular, he's a very, very good player who had a lot of good results last year. He never had that breakout result to say, look at me, I've got a trophy.
Sure.
So there's a lot of pressure for him to show the world how good he is.
I think if you haven't, okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of my own personal experience here because I have, I'd say something similar.
Yeah, you had a very similar.
Don't have a win in Hearthstone. Like, it doesn't matter how big the tournament is. It could have been a tour stop last year, which is not as big as a championship or anything like that. But even when you get that win, it just feels so great because, you know, it validates pretty much everything that you've done up to this point. If you don't get that, then it's like, oh, am I really not as good as these guys?
Yeah, and your attitude in one of the Dream Hacks, I remember, And I thought this was great, by the way. One of the casters said to you, congratulations, reaching the top 16, off camera, off stream.
Yep.
So I won't say who. And your answer was basically, well, what have I done? Like,
well,
it was like, you're almost offended that somebody congratulated you on reaching the top 16 because you had that desire to prove more.
It is an accomplishment to reach top 16 at any tournament. It's a very hard thing to do. You're playing against like a lot of good players. The problem is that it's not enough.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
If I thought it was great. I thought it was the best answer I heard all year.
If you're trying to be the best in the game, which a lot of these players are trying to do, you know, that's why they're playing competitively. Getting, you know, top 8, top 4, even second. Well, I can't really complain, but
yeah,
still,
even second.
You still have like this desire to get that one tournament win, and Bozzzton hasn't gotten it yet. Yeah. I understand what you mean.
Yeah, second's a little bit different because at least you're there in the fight. People have seen every match that was played, but anything below second, and Bozzzton had a lot of 4s, 8s, 16s.
Yep.
And
which are very impressive results. You know, it's 2 games away. It's not like
and these are 300-player fields. It's not like
it's not even
top
close
16
to
out of 16.
Having no chance to get there. That's not what happened. It's just.
But with all that in your mind, it is a lot of pressure. And
yep.
It must be so nice for you to actually have that sort of out of the way as well.
I mean, I still haven't got my win yet.
This is true. Dog was due a win. He hadn't had.
It was a moral victory for everyone.
Every dog has his day.
You know the song, Next Time I See Dog? The dog days are over.
I don't do music.
The dog days are done, Lorinda.
Okay. This is where you're now learning from Derek to just say things that float over my head and laugh at me mercilessly. I thought I'd have got away from all that.
I must choose.
All right, back to the Hearthstone game in progress, which I'm sure we should be looking at. Anytime that there's a boom in hand, things are about to go boom.
I don't think things are about to go boom. There's only one bomb that ties this deck. French Caliber. This card you're looking at. No Zul'jin in Ty's hand right now. I think that's going to influence how he plays this game.
Okay.
By quite a bit.
So how do you feel tracking? Like, for tracking's a really interesting card in Hearthstone. The more deep you're likely to go in your deck, the less good tracking is, weirdly enough, because you don't want to get there and waste those cards.
I think it's a really interesting decision because it often just doesn't matter at all.
Yes.
But when it matters a lot. You know. So generally when I'm doing this, I say to myself, if the game is like at this point in the game, I will, you know, where it's not really, we're gonna be playing a lot more turns of Hearthstone right now. I kind of just don't use my brain energy on that.
Okay.
I think that it's better used on like how to approach like the couple of turns in front of me than like the fatigue situation. I try not to put myself in spots where it's going to matter.
But again, if you're looking for a quick Zul'jin here, or a mediumly quick one, the tracking needs to be on somewhere in those thought processes sooner.
I mean, I think from Ty's side, he's really not under pressure, so he doesn't need to go searching for it right now.
Yeah, he's got to get those Unleash the Beast played even before he cares about Zul'jin.
Yeah, Bozzzton hasn't played either of his booms yet. Unleash the Beast is a great pickup. Dire Frenzy as well is good, but
he's got Tundra Rhino in hand, which is a big deal.
Yeah, I do like the Unleash the Beast though, just for additional value. You know, a 5/5 every single turn for the rest of the game is going to be hard for the warrior to answer. At some point, they run out of stuff.
However, Unleash the Beast has a really awkward casting cost.
At 6 mana and Twin Spell, it's
just a nuisance. You can only do one a turn. So do I want to play one every turn for 4 turns? I mean, I don't see why I wouldn't want a 5/5 rush. But the Dire Frenzy fits into curve a lot more comfortably.
Yep.
But also the Dire Frenzy's kind of bad if you're not going to get another Master's Call. And he does go with the more stable, as you predicted, the Unleash the Beast, which is just a constant flow of damage. And this warrior deck not being your traditional control doesn't fall into the problem you were talking about earlier of not the swing turn for the hunter. The swing turn will come eventually. It can't keep removing 5/5s without really hurting itself. And I think sometimes
going for, I imagine a 6/9 here. Already saw a deadly shot on his...
and there is only one.
Yeah. He could get it off Shimmerfly, but, you know, that's just very unlikely. It's not something that you really worry about.
And Bozzzton's a lot more free to do what he likes this game as well, because of this time he has got 42 health. He hasn't got to worry about 26 just winning the game from out of the blue.
If he was at this life total last game, I think the way he played it was perfectly fine. It's just the problem was he was a little bit too low for...
Yeah, and he could have predicted the loss as well.
Yes.
It didn't involve Ties to have a particular amount of luck to have those cards in hand after 2 Master's Calls.
Yeah, I mean, once you've seen the 2 Masters... Like, getting the 2 Master's Calls was pretty fortunate for Ties.
Yes.
But once you've seen that, then it becomes, you know, pretty likely that a scenario like that could happen.
Because there's hyenas.
But you also have to do a lot of math from Bozzzton's side without seeing the hand. So, you know, doing that is just not... You're not going to be able to...
It was definitely a viable play. It wasn't like completely stupid. I liked it. Except doing what I like isn't always the plan. Really hampers your plan as the warrior when you don't get some sort of bomb action early, doesn't it? And it is reliant, when you're playing the LX version, you're very reliant on those bombs.
I can see that.
And now...
He decides that this is the swing turn.
He nearly did it last turn. He nearly went for 7-7 last turn.
The way Bozzzton has sequenced this, I do like. I think at some point you need to play your Blastmaster Boom. An empty board when you already have minions in play seems like the time to do it.
He's going to have to do a lot of work. And this is all now posturing until he draws Mad Genius, really.
I mean, Ties has a very clean answer to this. He can pretty much clear everything except one Boombot. He can even soak some of the damage by playing the Unleash the Beast before. You know, just go Unleash the Hounds, kill off all of the Microbots. Sequencing-wise, you want to trade 2 into the 7-7. And then you trade into the Boombot with your final 1-1.
So that you don't accidentally lose a Hound along the way.
Yes. You also are totally fine against every single result from the Boombot, even 4 damage does not injure you.
Actually, this way was better. Leaving 5-5 was better.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Ties is very clean on that sort of thing.
You have to be. I think that, again, damage matters. Imagine if that 4 had gone into the Unleash the Beast.
Yeah, it was a perfect example of why that was right.
Yes. Bozzzton did just see a very expensive clear from Ties, I would say.
I think the reason Bozzzton's thinking so long here is he needs to work out how far down my deck does Mad Genius have to be for me to be able to win. So
one thing that influences that decision right now is the fact that none of these are mechs. So you just want to play them out. I think if they were mechs, then you give a lot more consideration to it.
How many bombs do I need if I'm going to win this game? Because this hand is not killing your opponent ever. So do I need to be greedy with the LX, maybe?
What now?
Do I need the Devastator to destroy an Unleash the Beast or a High Main?
You probably always hit the Devastator here if you're Bozzzton.
He needs to do a lot of planning as to, because he hasn't got the material in hand to win this game. But if he doesn't do something, he definitely doesn't win the game. So he's going to be a little bit greedy. He feels he's got time still.
Bozzzton realizing that a 5-4 stat line is a lot harder for Ties to answer than a 3-4 stat line with his rush minions.
So he draws Mark's shot and proves everybody wrong, but you're...
Master's Call again.
Wow.
That just has to be the pick. Ties could play Unleash the Beast here instead of Vicious Scalehide. But I think that he just wants to advance his game plan right now, because he can quickly seize tempo. Master's Call gets you, you know, up to 3 draws closer to Zul'jin.
I wonder.
Yeah. And Ties has from where he's sat, the issue is I've got to do all this damage. I do need to establish a big board, and that's not going to happen in one turn. It's all about setting up the next few turns to get your deck full of massive things. A whole load of massive vicious scale hides is a good start. So he's going to be taking his time. There's no hurry to do all this damage. You're going to do it with a Tundra Rhino and some recursive beasts, and then eventually a Zul'jin.
Wrench Caliber picked up.
Okay.
You're kind of happy to see that. That's a card that you're going to need to win the game.
Yes.
But right now, it's Dr. Boom or bust, I would say.
Yeah. Yeah, you need to get some damage in, plus... Because you know that these scale hides are just going to keep healing ties as well, so... These beasts have been unleashed. Beasts and hounds, all the way through the game. Hearthstone's weird without hero cards. Why don't they play like Zul'jin and Dr. Boom in their deck? That would be really good.
This is 30 damage.
I think you just go all in here. And then top deck, Mad Genius. Make a board.
I'm thinking we save the Omega Devastator. From Boston's perspective. Augment Zealot, Clockwork Goblin. Kill the 5-2, save the Devastator.
Okay.
It's really important to use your resources as effectively as possible. This weapon kills a 5-2, so if you play the Omega Devastator, it'd be like your weapon killing a 1-1.
Sure. This means your board's quite exposed to very easy clears.
It's always going to be.
Sure, okay. I can buy that.
I believe there are 6 bombs in Ty's deck now.
I think the same, but casters are notoriously bad at getting that number correct.
He shuffled the 2 in the turn previously, then 4 in
I wonder.
the next.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it.
Ty's just not playing his vicious scale hides. Saying he's going to take bomb damage, then play them with his Tundra Rhino. Guarantee a heal back up.
As you can tell, we're just sort of waiting
Yeah.
for Bozzzton to either draw.
Well, we're also
Mad
waiting
Genius
for
or not.
Ty's. We're also waiting for Ty's to draw Zul'jin.
Yeah. The difference is, if Ty's draws Zul'jin, he wins on the spot.
With
If Bozzzton draws Mad Genius, I still don't think he wins.
Yes.
But he has a chance.
What's really funny is that the best draw in Ty's deck right now for him is bombs.
Yeah, because he just heals straight back up.
Yes. I think that
Gets out of
Ty's
trouble.
is getting to a point where the way he loses is having all 6 bombs in a row that he just can't burst heal out of.
Which nearly happened last game.
So the best draw for Ty's right now is like a 1 or 2 bombs. Not a bomb.
Not a bomb. Half the deck is bombs.
You can see that Ty's is actually pretty unhappy with that right now.
Yeah, he can't play all the stuff again. The Unleash the Beast. The one downside of such a great card is it's perfectly costed to make it just irritating. I think it's my favourite costed game in the card in the game from a development point of view. It's really annoying.
Boston wants to clear this, but I don't think he can afford a Warpath here.
Yeah, I think you're right. 9's not killing him. Sad though that is to say. On the other side of it, if your only out is to draw Dr. Boom next turn, you wouldn't be able to Warpath next turn either.
I mean, I think you're more concerned about the fact that if your opponent plays Zul'jin, I guess what you could be saying is that Zul'jin has to be kind of bottom card here. Obviously,
yeah, I don't beat Zul'jin here ever, so I only win if Dr. Boom's my top card, Zul'jin's the bottom card, so I have to Warpath to make that work. If that's the decision he comes to, it's not for the reasons you were saying that he's got to save it, it's the opposite, it's that he's got to use it and
use
get
it
lucky.
because, okay, sure.
But you keep the Devastator because that's a 2-for-1 if you draw your Dr. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is correct.
Ty's does not want to see a bomb here. Or Ty's does want to see a bomb, Boston does not.
Third Warpath was important.
All right, now he needs 5 in a row.
Do you know
Or
why,
Boston.
do you know why the third Warpath was important there?
No.
So if Bozzzton gets a Pinata, and then gets Shervala,
Oh, or Toki and a Yogg.
then
So maybe we're
past
supposed
important.
to play another one.
I think he was. I think
Yeah.
that's a massive mistake.
Just, I hope he gets hugely punished for that.
Unless he's already paid 25 damage worth of spells.
Probably is. But for Yogg specifically.
For Yogg, yeah, the extra warpath could be absolutely key.
Yeah. Or Kragwa, if he somehow gets that next turn.
It's harder because he won't be able to get the delivery drone and the Pinata. But yeah.
Omega Assembly into Pinata. Well, he doesn't get the... Yeah, never mind.
If you can't tell right now, we are starting to talk as if this game might be drawing to a conclusion.
Ty's playing a Vicious Skill Hide here, I think makes a lot of sense. Yep. Now he is out of range.
And yeah.
And he's back in.
I love the way that the only two things that are relevant in this game right now are whether Ties can draw 6 bombs in a row or whether you can get Shervala from Pinata at a reduced cost.
They're about equally likely at this point.
There's always a way to win. But I'm not seeing it.
From Boston's perspective, maybe it's just leaving up the Tundra Rhino?
Yeah. Sure.
As funny as that sounds.
This is where Hearthstone is very hard, and unfortunately you don't get rewarded for your very good plays sometimes. Things just start to crack around the edges completely when you go down to these 0.01% situations.
Yeah, this is not a game that you've done the math on. Boston has not been in this spot before. And he's just killing
Okay,
the Vicious Scale Pipe.
see how that works. That means that if he draws a lot of bombs, Ties doesn't get the heal from them. One. Still one. Well, that was a lot of hype for nothing. I'm looking at Bozzzton, sort of wondering how to get out of this room.
This is just a weird game for both players because they're kind of playing at the razor's edge right now. Boston can still set up a unlikely bomb lethal even with the attack with the second Vicious Scale Hide. It's only enough to get him out of range of the bombs, but Wrench Caliber Face still sets it up.
But it's also, it reminds me of those games where if you drew Yogg-Saron and it went crazy, you might possibly win, so you had to keep playing just in case. It's not quite in that category because there are only 9 cards in Ty's deck, but
Sure.
it's close to that.
And a brawl off the top. That's going to keep Boston alive.
Nice.
Usually.
He looks thrilled about the prospect of another turn of this game. Yeah, Ty's looks, okay, another turn. Great. I've got Masters, cool. Which you don't really want to do because then your deck will just be pure bombs.
Ty's needs his Zul'jin ASAP.
Yeah, he can actually lose. It's just getting kind of weird.
He might even go to Fatigue with tracking off the Zul'jin.
Oh. Might blow
This
up.
is a strange game, man.
Zul'jin
One.
might not be playable.
2.
Boston has more health than Ty's. And Ty's has been having the board at
Boston
-3 the
has-
entire game.
Less health than Ty's.
Now he does.
Yes.
He had the same.
Yep. For just a second there.
Now he's got more health than Ty's again. Come on, guys. Bring decks that aren't just basic cards next week. What is this? This is like Innkeeper versus Innkeeper right now.
This is 10 mana and you top deck pretty much a Moonfire at this point.
What's even happening? They've just hit each other with all they've got, and now we're just down to nonsense. It's really hard to keep your cool during these games.
Yes.
But know exactly which cards are left.
This is just so far out there, you know. Like this doesn't feel like a normal game of Hearthstone.
But it's swinging back the other way. It's now becoming calculated. Yeah, Bozzzton's enjoying this.
Just one more.
He's hoping. Zoom in, but there's a tracking in there.
So it could go to fatigue.
And he can get a bomb. He can choose the bomb from tracking.
But he's at 9.
Okay. There's got to be a kill command in there as well.
That's like the 5th Master's Call that Tyce has gotten this game. Oh, he could Dire Frenzy. No, but he's already played a Dire Frenzy off the Zul'jin.
Master's Cool got nothing. Tracking.
Into a bomb!
Boo! He's out of cards.
No more bombs left in the deck.
Is there a kill command in the pool? I think there is. There's got to be, because it's not in his hand.
Tyce can attack it.
He can kill command himself. He dies, and it goes to 1-all. Bozzzton has somehow won the most ludicrous Hearthstone game I've seen, and I've seen
It was like he drew a bomb at the very end there as well.
Kill command, he won all the
1-all.
minions. Kill command's own face. Had to be a beast come into play as well for that to even work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was
Otherwise,
very likely. That was very likely.
Tracking to a bomb.
And even if he kill command face before a minion had been played, he was still going into fatigue.
Sure, yeah,
There's no Dire Frenzies that were put on.
yeah.
But there's also like the likelihood of him tracking into a bomb, and then the last card also being a bomb.
What did we just watch?
We were saying the entire game that Dr. Boom was the card that you needed to win.
And then we gave up. Then we just gave up. It just said,